Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast with David Baker. David was a former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and for over 30 years has been a preacher. He has written 5 books and is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He is the chaplain at the county jail, pastors a church, and is the father of 11 children. Yes, 11. This podcast is here to give you wisdom for your family, your marriage, your children, your finances, your health, and your life. And now, the host of Wisdom of Life podcast, David Baker.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast. My name is David Baker, and we are, as you see in the title, working on adult children problems, okay? Adult children problems. You're like, oh no, when my kids are 18, they're done, they're gone, they're out of the house. They won't cause me any more problems, okay? Sorry. We have 11 children. We have 5 that are married, and we only have 2 that are under adult age. And we got good kids, and God's been, they've been a blessing to us, but life is filled with problems, okay? And your adult children will have them. So we're going to go through the 20 top problems that experts say that people have with their adult children. And last time we talked about the bigness of financial dependence, okay? Financial dependence and so in that first lesson, we talked about financial dependence and career and job struggles. Won't take time to review that. You can go back and listen to it just as easily. So we're going to jump right in. The next one is relationship issues. Relationship issues. And this is big. This one is gigantic. Navigating challenges in adult children's romantic relationships and marriages. And boy, each one of these literally you could do an hour-long podcast on. You could bring on experts and guests and what about. And if you have questions on that, feel free to email them, askPastorDavidbaker@gmail.com, and do my best to include some of those. So the big thing at first goes back to while they're young, teaching them the right thing. We've already talked about this, but children, teenagers don't need to date. You're not ready for marriage yet. And so let's wait on that. They'll have a lot less issues when they wait. Second, you want to guide your children. Sometimes kids say, you can't tell me who I can like or who I can love. That's my heart. We think it's Cupid that shoots an arrow in the heart, and I don't really like him, but Cupid said I have to, so we're in love. No, it's not that. We choose. God says to love your enemies. You think that's Cupid doing that? Think that's natural? No, that's a decision on purpose because I decide I am going to love my enemies because God said to. So what you look for and teach your children is the principles, what to look for. Okay, what to look for. Proverbs 31. Go through Proverbs 31 and do this for me. All right, a Proverbs 31 woman, all these things that she has. Count how many of those have to do with hard work. Just count. You'll be floored. The number one thing to look for in a spouse, according to Proverbs 31, and a woman is, does she work hard? How many times do we look for that one? Huh? I've been in too many houses where the laundry is piled up out of the laundry room into the bedrooms and piles and piles. Dishes piled everywhere. What's she doing? Watching TV. Okay? Oh boy, you better see that kind of. So teach them what to look for. Teach them all the principles of that. Teach them to look. What do the men's eyes look at? Are they sensual with every girl that walks by? Run. You don't want him. Oh, he's so handsome. Yeah, and he'll be running around with somebody else. Once you're pregnant or when something happens in life, he's messing with somebody else. You don't want that. You don't want that. Relationship issues. Teach them the right things. Again, this is just this year. You could go on forever. What to teach them, but have your children. What do you look for? Oh, he's cute. He's handsome. He's got muscles. He's got money. No. What do you look for? Kindness. Biblical principles, love. How does he treat his mother? How does she treat her father? Does she love God? Does he love God? Do they work hard? Okay, same thing for a man. Ladies, you need to know, is he a hard worker? All he wants to do is like play, football, softball, baseball, watch TV, and play video games. Yeah, he's going to make a great husband and a great father. Okay, you need to see those type of things before you're, I'm in love. Before you get to that point, you need to see and check. Honestly, I don't think anybody just, hey, can I get your number? I don't know you. Well, I'd like to get to know you. Okay, then we'll start. Let me check you out. Let me go look at your social media. Oh, wow. Immodest. Oh, wow. Cursing. Oh, wow. Worldly. Oh, wow. Nope. Sorry. Okay. By principles, not just, oh, are you cute? One of my daughters worked at the YMCA as a front desk and then also in the daycare. And so she was working front desk, and this guy comes by. I mean, he's Mr. Gymnast, Mr. Athlete, Mr. Cool, Mr. Good Looking, Mr. Built body, and comes by to my daughter and says, "Hey, can I get your number?" She said, "No, thank you." He said, no, seriously, can I get your number? She said, "No, thank you." He's like, "No, I'm sorry. I'd like to call you sometime or text you. Can I get your number?" She goes, "No, thank you." He's like, "You're serious?" "Yes." And she was kind. She was friendly. And it had never happened. Some people told her later that he said no girl had ever turned him down getting their phone number. How come? Because she already saw a guy who's stuck on himself, who thinks he's Mr. God's gift to women, is not the kind of guy that's going to make a good husband and a good father, and I'm not interested. But he is like the best looking guy, and he's got all the muscles, and he's a star football. Sorry, not what you're looking for. Teach your children that. Okay, teach your children that. I'm sorry, so many times it's only skin deep. That's all we're looking at. We're looking at beauty. We're looking at the body. We're looking at the face. We're looking at those type of things. And so it's not. So anyway, we're talking about marriage, adult issues, but it starts back here. Okay, it starts back here. When they're married and adult issues, there's so many different directions you can go on this. And and it depends, okay? It depends. And sorry, I'm struggling, but there's so many things that happen. If your daughter comes and says, "I'm done with him, I'm moving back home," okay, what's the problem? And it's something he didn't hit you, he didn't cheat on you, he didn't, no, you need to work that out with your husband. "What? I can't come home?" No, you're married. Leave father and mother, cleave to your wife, cleave to your husband. That's an issue, and you guys need to work through it. If you need counsel, here's a good counselor. Okay, but you need to work through that. You are not allowed to come back home. Now, if she's physically being abused, or she's been cheated on, or he's in drugs and dangerous, whatever, yes, that's your daughter. You do whatever you can to be able to help them. But so many times, whatever our little girl or little boy says, then mom and dad, "Oh yeah, no problem," and they enable them instead of fixing the problems. They enable the separation, which leads to divorce, which leads to child support, which leads to your grandchildren not having their father, when if they went to a wise counselor, he says, "Yeah, you guys got issues, but we can help. We can fix those." Okay? They really are important. I don't think most of the time the parents should be the counselors, because it's going to be one-sided. We're going to side towards our little girl or towards our son. And so find a good, wise pastor counselor who knows the Bible and cares about people and can help them and get them in to fix those problems. You want to be careful to protect your children, but not just to side with them and listen to all the bad. Okay? If your daughter is calling you all the time, "Oh, guess what he did? He left his dirty clothes on the floor." "Yes, I know. I can't believe I'm not going to put up with that." "You shouldn't put up with that, honey. That's not, And if everything he does wrong, she's telling mom, and then mom is siding with her, guess what? You guys are together destroying the marriage. Honey, yes, men will do that. Here's the way you ought to think. If you don't want to do that for him, some other woman probably would. And you need to say, "Hey, I'm glad I'm his wife, and I get to love him, and I get to take care of him, and servants are the greatest, so I get to serve. And here's how you bring it up the right way, and where he's not going to be offended, and he's not upset, but the issue is dealt with, and he'll work and try harder and do better." Amen? Okay? If not, then here's what happened. Mom's going to hate him. Mom's going to think bad about him. Dad's going to think bad about him, because every negative bad thing they're telling. If my wife had anything bad about me, and of course she doesn't, okay? Okay, I'm laughing. If my wife knew anything bad about me, I promise you, she's not going to tell her mom or her sisters or any girlfriend. If there's something bad, then we're going to talk about it. We're going to fix it. Okay? It might be at the end of a shotgun, but we're going to fix it. Okay? All right, honey, put the gun down. Put the gun down. We're okay. All right, that's a joke. Please understand that's a joke. Relationship issues done the wrong way, many parents will help destroy their marriage, which will in turn help destroy their grandchildren. We're so quick to defend our little Julie, okay, our little Susie, our little Bobby, whatever their names. We're so quick to defend them that we don't think of the long term of what needs to be done to fix that. I had a older couple, and their kids were struggling for legit reasons. He had done some things he should not do, and she could have said, "I'm done." Gone to her mom and dad. They took her in, take their grandkids in, leave him out in the cold. We're done. Get away from him. But they wisely thought through, can this be fixed? Can this be resolved? Could we help him and help them still to have a good marriage and good family and home? And this is a legit thing where she needed to leave the house, okay? And so they talked to some people and got him some help. And it was months long, got him some help. But after that, he's good, and they're restored and they're good, and the kids are good, and the grandkids are good, and the grandparents are good. Amen? And it was fixed, and it was an issue. Okay, please listen, problems are made to be fixed. Well, what if it's fornication? God allows divorce for the reason of fornication. But he said, I'd rather you forgive. I allow divorce because of the hardness of your heart. But, hey, if we cheated on God, Israel cheated, played the harlot, God divorced her, but then God took her back. Have we cheated on God? Then I wonder, could there be forgiveness? I've counseled many couples through adultery, and it's amazing, done right. On the other side, they say, wow, our marriage is better now than it was before, and we couldn't fathom that. That's what God's grace. Where sin abounds, what? Grace doth much more abound. When there's sin, then God can come in and fix things. When someone comes to me and, Pastor, this is the problem. Okay, honestly, that sounds weird. I said, good. What do you mean good? Well, the situation's bad, but if you'll love God and say call to his purpose, God's going to work this out for good. How was the marriage before? A 3. So now we know what the problem is. Now we can work at fixing it to get it to a 7 or 8. Okay, it's good. If you love God and say call to his purpose, then God will work this out for good. This is an opportunity. When sin abounds, for grace is much more abound. Okay, so it's gigantic. When your children adult children have relationship issues, okay, you better stop and pray for wisdom. You need to say, let me think about it. Let me pray about it. Get counsel about it. Because so many times parents handle that wrongly and their kids end up relationship being destroyed. All right. If they're not married yet, you need to, in my opinion, use influence and prayer to be able to help. In this topic of helping adult children, I will probably say this every week, but there's a difference, parents, in authority and influence. There's a difference in authority and influence. When the kid's 3, 5, 10, 12, I have all authority. I tell them what to do and they do it. They're minor. They're in my home. I'm boss. I'm dad. I'm it to them. I tell them what to do and they do that. Once they're 18 and they're out of the house, then you have no authority. We're not under a patriarchy. They're 18 years old. They'll be glad to tell you. So what do you have now? All you have is influence. Now, if our children, we'll talk about this next point is moving back home. We're not going to get to today. But if they're under my roof as an adult, they're going to obey my rules. We'll talk a lot about that. So there is still authority if they're under my roof. But if they're over 18 and they're out of the house, I have zero authority. And if I try to use that authority, then I'll lose influence. All I have to help my kids after they're out of the house at 18, all I have is influence. So I've got to work to build influence with them. The statement, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. For my kids, as adult kids, to call me and say, hey, Dad, I got a question. That means they love me, they trust me, and they've given me influence with them. If they will never come to me ever, and I try to help them and they won't even accept me, then I don't have any influence. I need to back up, love deep, show them I care, be there for them so they'll let me help them. One of the biggest mistakes that parents make with adult children is trying to enforce authority when all you have is influence. And the little influence you have is dwindled because you're pushing authority that you do not have. Okay? Big point. I'll probably mention it every week. Relationships, they're out of the house, they're 18. I have no authority. But if I've done it right as a parent, they're going to come back to me with influence. I have one daughter, she got married when she was 26, 27, I think 27. And she lived in our home the whole time except going to college, and she moved back home. But what her mother and I thought was very important to her, and she allowed us to have influence. She allowed us to have influence. Well, she's 27 years old. She's almost 10 years been an adult. Yes, but if I've done it right, I still have influence so I can help her. She's married to a wonderful man, and they have a great marriage and great life, and we're so excited for them. But you have to understand, you don't have authority. Try to use authority when you don't have it, and watch your influence lose. For instance, they're dating someone you don't think they ought to date. You demand, you got to break up with them, don't talk to them, you're done with them. Who are you? I'm 18, I'm out there, you can't tell me what to do. You just lost your influence because you're trying to use authority that you don't have. That's really important, okay? Hit that hard. Hope you understand that. And when your children have a relationship problem, stop, pray for wisdom, and if you can, get some real help for them. Because so many times parents come to me after, okay, I need to talk to you. All right, what's going on? Well, I think I did the wrong thing. Oh, no, what'd you do? And they tell me the situation like, yeah, you cannot handle it that way. And now they lost influence, and they got to work hard to get it back. And it's hard to get it back. Okay, it's hard for parents to have influence with their children anytime, especially when they're over 18 and they're out of the house. And if we have mishandled something, then we're going to be very, very slow to trust us again with that. Okay, all right, we'll take off from here. Hope that you got something out of that. And again, if you have a question about something, feel free, email me, askPastorDavidbaker@gmail.com, and love to help. God bless and take care.
Thank you for listening to the Wisdom for Life podcast. If you have any questions for us, email us at askPastorBaker@gmail.com, and we will answer them in an upcoming podcast. The email is askPastorBaker@gmail.com.